The series begins with Donnie going to the police station to tell them that a woman has been following him. She shows up at his job and sends him lots of emails. The police officer doesn't think the woman is dangerous, but Donnie is worried because he thinks she needs help. He's been dealing with her stalking for 6 months. In a flashback, we see Donnie working as a bartender in London when he first saw the woman following him. When he saw her, he felt bad for her. He offered her tea, but she said she couldn't afford it, so he gave her some at his place. Her name was Martha, and she said she was a lawyer who owned a law firm, among other things. Donnie wondered why she couldn't afford tea if she was so successful. Donnie says he moved to London to chase his dream of being a comedian, but it didn't work out. Now he lives with his ex-girlfriend's mom without having to pay rent. Martha comes to see him every day with new makeup and hairstyles. She stays for his whole shift, talking non-stop about people in her life. Donnie admits he likes it because she's the only one who pays attention to him. He gives her compliments sometimes, but won't give her his number. Then he starts getting about 80 emails a day with spelling mistakes on simple words. He said no to going on a picnic with her for her birthday because he thought it was a romantic thing, so he went for coffee instead. She thought it was a date and asked if he was serious about her. He said yes, but just as a friend. He wanted to know who she was and why she liked him, so he decided to follow her back to her place, which he found dirty. Martha came to his comedy show and was the only one who laughed at his jokes. She had a really infectious laugh that inspired him to tell funnier jokes. Thanks to her, he had a great performance that night. She told him she loved him and touched his face. Later, she invited him on Facebook. When he checked her page, he found a bunch of photos of political figures with her pictures photoshopped next to them. He even saw his picture there along with a caption that said, "I met someone today, my very own baby reindeer, to have and to hold." He looked her up and found out that she was a lawyer but had been removed from the profession because of stalking. She was fired for acting inappropriately with her boss and hanging around his house. She even attacked his mother on the street and was put in prison for it. Donnie was shocked to learn this, but he still added her as a friend on Facebook. He couldn't believe he added Martha on Facebook. He tried to remove her as a friend many times, but always stopped himself. Donnie thought that Martha was unwell and misunderstood. Martha started commenting on all his photos, even ones from when he first joined the site. She told him their date was special and asked if they were official. She wanted to know if he was seeing someone else. Donnie ignored her and signed off. Donnie went on a date with Terry and they talked about their lives. Donnie explains that he met Terry on a transgender dating website. He used the name Tony and did everything he could to conceal his true identity. He never thought he would fall in love, but Terry was intelligent, strong, and funny. He worried about running into someone he knew and didn't want them to find out he was dating a transgender woman, so he decided to keep their dates to a quiet cocktail bar outside of town. He always intended to tell her about Tony, but as he grew more attached to her, he found himself procrastinating. Later, Martha went to Donnie's workplace and asked him who he was texting and if it was Key. Donnie said that Key was just an old friend. That night, he couldn't sleep because he was worried that Martha would find out about Terry. He promised to keep them apart. He showed Terry Martha's texts, and she thought Martha was clearly not well. Terry questioned why Martha called him Donnie and why he didn't report her to the police. Donnie assured her that he would handle the situation, and Terry vowed that if he didn't, she would go to Camden to see Martha. Martha called Donnie when he arrived at the pub late. He gave her a Coke and charged her for it, but she started crying. Donnie reassured her and brought up their age difference, saying he wanted kids later on. Martha said that life only takes from a person and then disappears. That night, Martha sent him many emails about her menstrual cycle, blood clots, and talked a lot about her fertility. Martha would come to the pub every morning, following him around and talking a lot about their future together. She had tickets to his semi-final competition. To get some space, Donnie asked Gino to keep Martha out of the bar. However, he said no because he believed that Donnie couldn't do anything on his own. Gino then secretly messaged Martha to ask for sex, thinking she would take it as a joke. Donnie phoned Jason to request moving the semifinal to a different date. After that, he went to the club to meet Terry, and they danced together. Terry looked up Martha online and discovered she had been to jail before. She thought that Donnie was keeping Martha around for what she could give him. That evening, Donnie and Terry returned on the subway. Terry noticed that Donnie's hands were not rough like a builder's. She asked for a real kiss, but he left the subway. Later, he found Martha waiting for him. She called him Phil because she hadn't brought it up before, but she might be willing to make exceptions for him. She said that guys who aren't interested in her are either blind or not into women. She asked him to stop pushing her away and offered to help him deal with the guy who hurt him. Donnie decided to leave, but she followed him. She pushed him against the wall and touched him. Martha was happy because she was making him impressed after that encounter on the street. A scared Donnie went home, blocked her on Facebook, and took a break from the bar. But he still felt her touch for days afterward. He wonders why he froze and let it happen. His roommate Liz, who used to date his ex-girlfriend, let him have people over and comforted him. Later, he went to Terry's place to say sorry and come clean about his real name and job. Terry listened for a while, then told him to leave. On the bus, he updated his website to say he was a comedian. Liz then introduced him to her cooking group, including Martha, who called herself Sheila, a lawyer. Donnie explained that when he first came to London, he moved in with his then-girlfriend Key at her mom's place while they tried to settle down. Eventually, Key moved out, Liz's son passed away, and Donnie stayed with her. He even started wearing her late son's jacket. When Key found out about his plans to stay, she let him, but only if he promised not to cause trouble. Martha ended up staying and talking with Liz. Donnie wanted her to leave, but Liz insisted she stay. Donnie eventually told Martha to leave and stay away, but she refused until he threatened to call the police. He found a picture of her in her underwear in his room, which made him worry. The next day, he tried to talk to her, but she didn't show up. Instead, she waited for him at the bus stop in front of his house. He visited the house and asked him to deal with the Martha situation. Martha kept messaging her on Facebook and wouldn't stop. He promised to tell her mom if Martha kept bothering her. Martha kept hanging out in front of his house every day. He would leave in the morning, and she would still be there late at night. She never talked to him or visited the house again. When it got cold, she would stare at the house for hours, so Donnie checked in on her and drove her home. That night, he made her some tea and kept her company for a bit. He asked her to give him space and told her he wanted to break up. Then he asked her to respect their breakup and left. The next day, she didn't show up at his bus stop, so he felt relieved. Then he went to his semifinals. Terry went to the show to see him fail in front of a big crowd. He made people laugh, but then Martha sang and said she was his ex. Donnie said she was his stalker. Martha got mad, yelled, and demanded an apology. She said he creeped around her house at night and looked through her windows. Security took her out, and his comedy show went really bad. Terry wanted to meet her because she is a therapist. Terry and Donnie ran away when Martha came looking for him, and they went straight to the bar. They had a drink together and talked. Terry noticed that he updated his profile on the website and decided to give him a chance. Martha arrived and insulted Terry. She called her other names, which led Terry to reveal that she was on a date with Donnie. Martha pushed her and started attacking her, saying that she looked like a man. Donnie stepped in and got very angry. He said he'd hurt her if she didn't leave him alone. Later, he saw Terry with a bloody face. Donnie admits he took 6 months to tell Martha. He wishes he'd done it when she attacked Terry. He went to the Edinburgh Festival to watch street performers. He was surprised to find out he'd be performing at the main bar. He did his comedy act, but no one was interested. The bartender gave him a VIP pass someone had dropped. Donnie used it to get into the Luna bar that evening. He did some networking and met Darian, the writer of his favorite show, Cottonmouth. The next day, Darian went to Donnie's comedy show and gave him his contact information. He offered to help Donnie improve his comedy performances. Over the next few weeks, Darian became involved in Donnie's show, giving him advice that led to great success. They spent many nights together at the exclusive bar in town, discussing the show. Darian suggested that Donnie perform in London, and then he left for London early, losing touch with Donnie for the rest of the festival. Months later, Donnie went to acting school in Oxford, but he felt unsatisfied and missed Darian and the confidence he had given him. During an acting class, he received a call from Darian, who asked him to collaborate on writing. Donnie went to Darian's apartment, where he shared the script he had written. They used a lot of drugs. Donnie got sick in the cat's bowl. Darren started touching him, and Donnie asked him to stop. Darian gave him almond milk and said he would take things slower next time. The next day, Darian told him that a TV channel was interested in the story he wrote and was willing to support him. After Donnie moved to London with Key, he started using drugs at Darian's house almost every weekend, trying all kinds of drugs. He was promised that he would have his own show by the time he was 30. Donnie passed out many times when he was with Darian, and he would find Darian lying next to him with his hands and mouth in different places on his body. Later, Darian would give him tough feedback on his writing and make him do rewrites overnight. Donnie couldn't be with Key on her birthday because he had to go to Darian's house to help him with his career. Key warned him that Darian was using him, but Donnie ignored her and went. Donnie and Darian took drugs. Donnie got scared and tried to leave, but Darian gave him a drink and touched him. The next day, Donnie realized that he was sexually abused. He stayed at the apartment for days and then went back to Key and said sorry. He wondered if Darian ever really cared about him or if everything was planned to hurt him. Donnie couldn't be close with Key that night. When Key left, Donnie fell apart. He started feeling confused about his feelings and didn't know if they were because of Darian or if they were always there. He would dream of hurting him. Months later, he realized that his feelings were changing. He began dating people of all genders to figure things out. After he was assaulted, he didn't feel interested in love anymore until he met Terry. She was everything he wanted, but he felt angry and ashamed when she touched him because he was falling for her. Donnie thinks he might not feel this way if Darian hadn't done what he did. When Martha appeared, all the confusion he felt went away as she showed him love in a way he had always wanted. When it was time to go to the police, he couldn't stand the idea of reporting her but not Darian. Martha was sick and couldn't control it, but to him, Darian was a sly manipulator. The police officer wanted Donnie to show proof of Martha speaking, but Donnie said he was back where he started. Martha was banned after attacking Terry, and she kept bothering Donnie wherever he went, calling him names. She even attacked Key and threw something at her. Liz, Martha's mother, asked Donnie to leave. He moved to Kilburn with 2 friends from drama school. He liked the house, except they threw parties there at night. Donnie held Martha responsible for his situation. Donnie started spending more time at Terry's apartment. The incident with Martha brought them closer, and they became a couple. However, despite his efforts, he couldn't be close with her. After many unsuccessful tries, he noticed a change in her behavior. She would spend days in bed. Eventually, she explained that she was upset because of how he made her feel. She thought his negativity was making all the terrible things that Martha said to her come true. That night, she wondered what he was doing to make things better. She knew he didn't tell the police about Martha hurting her because he felt ashamed. Donnie reassured her that she did not deserve to be treated poorly. Terry thought he always treated Martha well. Donnie showed the police officer the emails, but the officer didn't think they were serious enough to charge Martha. Donnie convinced the officer to look her up in the system, and the officer took Donnie to see his supervisor, Detective Joe, and said that Martha was a serious woman who had once stalked a policeman. She asked Donnie to make a timeline of everything that had happened so far, and they would warn her about any future behavior. Donnie recalls that when the police showed up at Martha's door, she stopped contacting him. Weeks later, he started to worry because the emails made him feel like he could understand all of her emotions. He was really scared that she might hurt herself. He thought about whether he was missing her drama and attention. He even started to think about her in a sexual way, even though he wasn't actually attracted to her. It became a strange obsession for him. Later, he was surprised that he could be intimate with Terry, and he thought about Martha. Donnie hasn't put together a timeline yet. Detective Joanne talked to Martha, who was surprisingly helpful. She even went to 2 of their social adjustment classes. Donnie wondered if Martha said anything to anyone, or if she was upset. Joanne told him that if Martha contacted him again, they'd involve the CPS, which might lead to Donnie getting a full restraining order. Terry thought Donnie wanted a big confrontation with Martha. Donnie believed Martha wasn't too angry since she had controlled herself. Don ignored a call from his mom and then got a voicemail from his frantic parents, who said Martha had called claiming Don was in the hospital. Donnie was very surprised when Martha involved his parents. When he went to see them, he found his dad talking to her on the phone, threatening to hurt her if she ever called again. Martha got his phone from his receptionist and spent the day calling his coworkers, saying he did bad things when she was a child. Donnie's mom told him to quit his job for safety. Just then, Martha called him, and Donnie hung up. Donnie and his mom talked to the cops, but the officer explained that Martha was bothering his parents, which is a separate case from his. Donnie spent a week in Scotland waiting for the police to take action, watching as Martha kept calling. He eventually decided to take matters into his own hands. He went to confront her and told her to leave his family alone. He promised to fix her curtains that night. He asked her to write what she wanted to do to him in an email. After she sent him that email, Donnie forwarded it to Detective Joanne at the station. Joanne talked to him about what happened with Martha. She knew he had asked Martha to send him a very threatening email because Martha had recorded everything they had ever done. Joanne told him that his actions could be seen as a trap. Martha didn't want to take any action against him. Joanne suggested that he apologize to Martha and let the authorities handle it. Donnie was surprised that the police were treating them equally. He realized that Martha knew what she was doing all along because she was experienced. Terry was afraid Martha might start following her, so Donnie told her to take a break from social media. Terry refused to hide from the situation. She believed Martha was mentally unwell, and Donnie supported her because Martha represented his bottled-up frustrations. Terry chose to end their relationship. The following day, Martha went to Donnie's pub, but he wouldn't let her stay. Martha didn't listen and poured herself a glass of water. She began bothering Donnie in front of the customers and shared his personal life. The customers joined in, mocking Donnie. Donnie told them to look up Martha and see that she had been tormenting AR's deaf child. Martha hit him with the glass, and Donnie punched her. She was escorted out, and Donnie regretted ever giving her a free cup of tea. Gino, the person in charge at the pub, said no to Donnie when he wanted to call the police because the owner wouldn't like what happened at the pub. They might all get blamed for not being careful and lose their jobs. Later that night, Donnie did his comedy show, but the people there didn't laugh at his jokes. He started talking to them about his difficulties and not knowing any better. He remembered the time he met Darian. He did everything he was asked to become famous. He trusted them with the fact that he was sexually assaulted, which made him lose his self-respect. The audience was surprised to hear his confession. He also shared how he allowed Martha into his life because he lacked confidence. When he saw her crying, he offered her a cup of tea to comfort her. He knew she was becoming attached to him and was potentially dangerous, but he continued to engage with her to fulfill his need for attention. He then mentioned Terry and how he couldn't love her. He realized that he ruined their relationship because he disliked himself more than he loved her. He tearfully admitted that he truly loved her. Donnie wrapped up by saying he was excited to win the competition. Later, as he left, a person in the crowd recorded Donnie's emotional moment and posted the video on YouTube, where it quickly became popular. Weeks passed, and Donnie found himself at the center of a media frenzy. Martha stopped getting in touch, and Donnie received new opportunities for work, such as appearing on podcasts, radio shows, and performing for larger, more enthusiastic audiences. His career unexpectedly took off. Donnie was pleased with the turn of events, knowing that his abuser had not succeeded in breaking him. For a time, he felt happy, but eventually Martha contacted him and threatened to reveal Darian's abuse to his parents. Donnie distanced himself from Martha for a few days and managed to speak to his parents before she could. During the visit, he confessed to them that he no longer identified as straight and might be bisexual, but was still unsure. Tearfully, he asked for their support as he continued on his journey. He admitted that he was sexually assaulted but didn't share it because he felt ashamed and didn't want them to see him differently. His dad revealed that he also went through a similar experience in the Catholic Church. His parents cried and hugged him. After that, Donnie slept well and woke up feeling refreshed. He spent a few days in peaceful Scotland with his phone switched off. When he returned, he found numerous voicemails from Martha. He sought advice from the police, and they suggested he keep his number and wait for Martha to say something incriminating. In the following months, Donnie carefully listened to Martha's voicemails, noting moments where she made threats. He began to save and organize the voicemails. His obsession grew as he ignored work calls, canceled gigs, and interviews. He found himself connecting with her once more due to their shared insecurities and fears for the future. Her voicemails kept him from moving on as Terry started a new relationship. Donnie hesitated to report her because he still felt attached to her. However, he finally reported her when she threatened to harm his family. Martha was arrested the next day and charged with 3 counts of stalking and harassment. He attended her plea hearing where she pleaded guilty and tearfully called him, "my little reindeer." Before being taken away, she looked at Don for the last time. Martha was sentenced to 9 months in prison with a 5-year restraining order. Donnie got rid of the police report on what happened and wrote that he felt bad for her. He went to see him because she was worried. He hardly left his room. On the wall, she saw Martha's things, trying to understand what was going on. Donnie organized Martha's voicemails into folders, capturing her different feelings, and he hadn't listened to many of them. He told Key that he'd given up on comedy, realizing it wasn't his thing. He suggested he move back to her mom's place to get himself back on track. She admitted that his video really upset her. Then, Liz welcomed him home and said she left something for him in the cupboard. He found her late son's yellow jacket and the script he wrote for Darian with his notes. Donnie went to see him, and they had a talk. Darren watched his video and thought it was courageous. He asked him to return and collaborate on a refreshed Cottonmouth, ensuring it wouldn't be like before. Donnie agreed and then departed. Outside, he began to breathe heavily. He listened to Martha's podcast and grinned when she praised him and admitted her affection for him. Later, he went to a pub and ordered a drink. He clicked on the Do Not Listen to Voicemails folder where Martha explained the significance of the baby reindeer to her. She had a beloved stuffed toy that she carried everywhere as a child, and it was the one positive thing from her childhood. She would cling to it during their frequent arguments. Donnie resembled that reindeer with the same nose and eyes. It meant a lot to her, and she tearfully expressed that Donnie meant a great deal to her as well. Overwhelmed, Donnie started crying, and the bartender checked on him. He then realized that he had left his wallet at home. The bartender kindly offered him the drink for free. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe your channel.